From the Himalayas in the north to the Nilgiris in the south, for 100 years, these little trains have climbed through the clouds and into the wonderful world of Indian hill railways. The Darjeeling Himalayan Railway was the very first hill railway in India. Referred to as the DHR for the last 125 years, it's ferried passengers on an improbably narrow 2 feet wide track into the Himalayas and to Darjeeling. In the brisk climate of the Himalayas, the British built a home away from home, where the stress of colonial rule could be filed away for the summer. Like the tea and the Gurkhas, the train has become an indelible part of the identity of these hills, and it touches the lives of everyone it meets on its narrow, twisting climb. This is the story of the Darjeeling Himalayan Railway. Once an old Gurkha military outpost, Darjeeling was purchased by the East India Company in 1835 from the rulers of Sikkim, a small Buddhist kingdom sandwiched between India and Nepal. The British established a sanatorium here for its soldiers to recuperate from the duties of empire. The climate of these hills was not only good for soldiers, but also perfect for growing tea. And it was tea which finally put Darjeeling on the world map. The new British settlement attracted clerks from Bengal, traders from Tibet, and most conspicuously, porters from Nepal. Today, the most common language in Darjeeling is Nepali, and the migration from Nepal has never stopped. "15 years ago, Sita Chetri made a 3-day-long journey from western Nepal to Darjeeling. She came to be with her husband, a migrant station porter.
31 वर्ष मेरो बुढा हस्बेन्ड खसेको मेरो 13 वर्षमा बिहा भएको
With 5 sons to feed and educate, Sita decided to take over her husband's work as a porter on Darjeeling station.
जो आफ्नो जेबमा पैसाहरु भयो काम गर्नु थाले हैन त्यतिबेला सर लाग्यो मैले सबसे कुरा के हेरेको भन्नुस् त सबै मेरो पढाइ यही नानीको पढाइको लागि म कहीं जानु नसके
Even though the work is backbreaking, she has plans to give a better life to her children and is grateful to the Darjeeling Himalayan Railway. Each morning she offers prayers to the gods, to the train and to the station, especially when times are hard.
इलेक्सन पनि हो किन अब आउनुलाई अब आउँछ होला तर पोरपोको भन्दा हापै छैन नि हाप मान्छे आएको छैन हामीलाई किन याद हुन्छ
Although it's the beginning of the tourist season, in 2 weeks India is going to the polls. Based on previous experience, the fear is that election fever might bring trouble. So many tourists are staying away. The residents of these hills don't want to be part of the Indian state of Bengal. They want their own independent state of Gorkhaland. And in this election, they want a candidate who will fight for a Gorkhaland in the Indian Parliament.
Jai Kali, Jai Jai Mahakali. Superfast Darjeeling Mail.
At NJP Junction, at the bottom of the hill, the intercity Darjeeling Mail arrives from Calcutta. It connects to the narrow gauge train going to Darjeeling, but today the narrow gauge train is half empty. Before the Hill Railway was built, British boxwallers faced an arduous journey from Calcutta. First an overnight rail trip, then 2 river crossings by steamboat. And when they finally arrived here at Siliguri, at the bottom of the mountain, they went up by bullock cart. From Calcutta to Darjeeling, the whole journey took 5 days. Although the railway has cut the journey time up the hill to Darjeeling to just 8 hours, at election time, there are bound to be delays. Halfway up the line in Kurseong, a Gorkhaland election rally is converging at the station. Furtemba Sherpa is the pointsman at Kurseong station, and he's responsible for the safe passage of both the train and the public through the town. Furtemba is the first in his family to join the railway. It gives him security, a regular income, and the prospect of a pension. And although he loves his job on the DHR, his dream was to be a professional musician.
मेरो सानैदेखिको मेरो 55 दिनको जस्तै म दार्जिलिङ त्यो बजाउने मेरो शौक काहीँ मेरो एउटा प्रोग्राम फेस गर्ने एउटा शौक मेरो लागि बोलिदिने मेरो लागि बुझिदिने मेरो लागि गरिदिने कोही पनि निक्लिदैन र खुद नखुद अब चाहिँ मैले आफ्नो मेरो पितृ प्रसादको निम्ति चाहिँ आफू नै अब म खडा हुनु परिरहेको छ.
Pointsman Furtemba Sherpa is a committed supporter of the Gorkhaland movement. But with the election rally converging on the station and 2 diesel and 2 steam trains to guide through the crowded streets, Furtemba has a lot on his plate. Gurkhas, both from neighbouring Nepal and this corner of India, historically are famous for their bravery, both in the Indian Army and the British Army. The Raj categorized the Gurkhas as a martial race, naturally warlike, courageous and loyal. But in a modern Indian democracy, the new weapon is the vote, and the war is about representation. As the rally gets going, and despite Furtemba's endeavours, the train to Darjeeling is delayed. Major Malla is a retired British Gurkha, many times decorated and veteran of a dozen or more campaigns. But now, with only time to kill, the train provides the opportunity to keep his memories alive.
This part of the country used to be a Gorkha territory some years back for some time. And the Gorkha clan is spread over Nepalese territory as well as Darjeeling. Darjeeling Himalayan Railway, it is called. And it is, as I see it, a part of life of the Darjeeling town and Darjeeling people. Darjeeling ko sanu dil हिर्दलाई अब तयारी छ गाडले सुन है सिटी बजायो
The railway line is like an artery running through the main streets of each and every village and town along the route. So it's the only place in the world where a train can be stuck in a traffic jam. The train is already more than an hour late, and in Darjeeling, Sita is becoming anxious. She needs to earn enough money every day to support herself and her 5 children. Every rupee counts. But with the train being so delayed, the DHR passengers are not in a generous mood.
जी 50 रुपये ले
चलो
आज एउटा पेसेन्जरले भन्यो यी लेडिज मान्छे हो यस्तो भारी काम नगर्नु हामीलाई पुरा अप्ठ्यारो लाग्यो केही दोकानहरू थाप्नु केही बिजनेस गर्नु केटा मान्छेले गर्ने काम केटी मान्छेले नगर्नु भने त्यो पेसेन्जरले
On his world tour, Mark Twain wrote in his journal that the women porters in Darjeeling could carry a piano right to the top of the hill. Sita's load may be lighter than a piano, but it's still a heavy burden for a 45-year-old mother of 5. Darjeeling is no longer the place which Mark Twain encountered on his travels. Quaint cottages have given way to concrete hotels and apartments. The upper town, which was once exclusively white, has now democratically merged with the native lower town. But for many hill people, life has hardly changed.
भएनै भने पनि हाइएस्ट काम भएको 300 रुपैयाँ काम गर्थ्यो तर अहिले हामी 150 बाट 100 रुपैयाँबाट उकालो हामी जान सक्यौँ
क्या मजबूरी है इसलिए करते हो काम
सब तो कमजोरी है तो ऐसे सब मजबूरी होनी से तो कौन उठाए
Sita Chetri lives in a rented one-room wooden house. She and her 5 sons share a room 15 feet square. Her eldest son Madhu is 18 and he's just finished his schooling. Sita wants him to continue his education and go to college, but he's not sure whether he should go or not. As the eldest son, Madhu doesn't want to be a burden on the family and their finances. But his mother is having none of it. Like most Indians, she's determined her son will be educated, no matter what it costs.
3215 चाहिँ पहिला एडमिसन हुनु दिनु पर्यो त्यसै महिनामा अलग्गै लाग्छ
महिनामा चाहिँ कति रहेछ
2 महिनामा उता 60,000 रुपैयाँ 200 रुपैयाँ लाग्छ
पहिला त पढ्नु पो पर्यो त खर्चको लागि किन भराउनु जस्तो तसो होला नि
Sita not only wants Madhu to go to college, she wants him to go to the best, St. Joseph's, Darjeeling's most prestigious graduate college.
ऐसे बोल रहा है हम तो लेखा पढ़ी नहीं है जो बोला हो वही सुना हुआ वहाँ पर का रिजल्ट मिलने से ये लड़का भी थोड़ा इज्जती
In a fast-changing modern India, respect is no longer just simply a question of caste. Respect may be acquired through education or commerce or duty or even through music. After work, at his railway house in Kurseong, pointsman and musician Furtemba Sherpa enjoys playing Nepali folk songs with his sons. The eldest son, Sapan, accompanies him on keyboard. But Sapan also plays in a Nepali rock band, and they're planning to release their debut single shortly and shoot a music video too. Sapan may not share his father's taste in music, but he shares his dreams.
मैले चाहिँ एउटा की बजाउने भन्दा चाहिँ एउटा सिन्थेसाइजर कीबोर्ड बजाउने हैन एउटा इच्छा जाग्यो हैन घरमा आएर सल्लाह गरे पवासँग हैन पवाले चाहिँ भन्ने बित्तिकै तर अब पवाले चाहिँ अब किन्दिहाल्नु भयो क्या अन्त मैले जे पनि भने होइन जे पनि अब जे पनि इच्छा गरेँ सानैदेखिको होइन अब बाबाले चाहिँ पुरा गरिदिनु हुँदैछ होइन
Sapan's quest for stardom is typical of today's young Gurkhas. He doesn't want to follow his father onto the railway, but like most eldest sons in India, he knows his first duty is to the family. But even here in the hills, Sapan's generation knows there is the promise of great opportunity in the modern world, opportunities that his father never had. The Darjeeling Himalayan Railway came into service in 1881. Since then, it's managed to retain most of its original features, and it still runs 6 steam trains every day. Vishnu Pradhan is the second fireman on today's steam locomotive. Chief fireman is Hari Chetri, his mentor. It's Vishnu's job to break the coal, and it is Harry who stokes it into the 80-year-old boiler. Working on a steam engine involves a particular set of skills that can only be learnt from your elders while on the job.
जितना भी काम है सब कुछ वही सिखाता है इसलिए उसको गुरु मानते हैं हम
हम भी ट्रेनिंग किया नहीं हम तो सीख लिया ना किसी से ज्ञान सीख लिया जी पहले वो सीनियर लोग था वो लोग बात करता था इसका बैक फायरिंग फ्रेश फायरिंग हेवी फायरिंग लाइट फायरिंग.
These steam engines certainly evoke the romance of a bygone age, but they're extremely temperamental and highly labor-intensive. Still, Harry and Vishnu feel proud driving their steam train.
डीजल तो खाली वो सब स्विच सिस्टम है सब स्विच सिस्टम है स्विच से हम इसका ब्रेक भी ऐसे करने से बस फट से लगता है इसका ब्रेक से पावर देना पड़ेगा कहीं ट्रेन आने से नहीं सब लोग निकल के दिखते हैं एक बार.
It's the spirit of steam which gives an identity both to the DHR and to Darjeeling. For the residents along the track, the railway is not some exotic antique, but a noisy family member to whom they turn to for small favors. Whether it's hot water for a bath, or a quick ride up to a friend's house, or even to solve the water crisis which plagues these hills, trackside residents turn to the DHR. Its water points along the route provide an emergency water resource, a century-old lifeline for the common people, with the added benefit of a 52-mile-long adventure playground. As well as the train, Darjeeling has kept its other lifeline intact: Buddhism. India was where the Buddha gained enlightenment. But today, Buddhism as a religion has almost vanished from the land of its birth. It only survives as a living religion in a few isolated areas like Darjeeling. 53-year-old Nima Yelmo is the chief ticket inspector at Kurseong station. He also trained as a Buddhist monk until he graduated.
छोटा से ही थोड़ा स्कूल पढ़ते समय में भी हमने तो थोड़े रिलीजियस में ट्यूट था और उसके बाद में जब हम एग्ज़ाम ख़त्म कर दिया तो हम गुरु जी के पास चला गया।
उस टाइम में तो हम लोग को बहुत बड़ा मन था, फैमिली बहुत बड़ा था, फाइनेंशियली थोड़ा वीक था, तो इसलिए उस लोग हम लोग को रिलीजियस में जाने से वो लोग थोड़ा पढ़ के थोड़ा बड़े पैसा थोड़ा करने से वो लोग थोड़ा आराम के सोचा होगा ऐसे ही।
गुरु जी के पास चला जाने, फिर वहाँ से हम कॉलेज आस्ते आस्ते कॉलेज कंप्लीट किया।
As the eldest son, Nima Yelmo had to leave his spiritual pursuits and work to support the family.
रेलवे में टिकट कलेक्टर में मिल गया, फिर उसके हम पूछा तो ठीक है उसमें जाने से अच्छा है बोल कर हम इसी रेलवे में ढूंढ गया।
Although he's a chief ticket inspector, he's not let his work interfere with his spiritual vocation. He continues to keep all his vows, including that of celibacy.
मैले त गर्नु भनेको नि त, नगरेपछि अब किन गरेन अब मैले सम्झेको थिएँ अब बिहा गरे भने सबै नानीहरु छोराछोरी हुन्छ, सबलाई उलाई नै राम्रो हुन्छ, हामीलाई पनि राम्रो हुन्छ, नगरेपछि अब के गर्नु।
The family pressures mean that Nima, the eldest son, has to support the family, so he can't be a full-time monk. Nevertheless, he still approaches his job as a true Buddhist.
पब्लिक का सर्व करता है, पब्लिक का थोड़ा अच्छा करता है। गवर्नमेंट भी है फॉर द पीपल टू द पीपल ऑफ द पीपल है ना, पब्लिक को जो सर्व है ये सबसे बड़ा धर्म है ना। इसमें बुद्ध का जो टीचिंग्स है, बुद्ध के टीचिंग्स में बहुजन हिताय बहुजन सुखाय होता है ना।
In India, traditionally, the eldest son has to become the breadwinner of the family. Madhu wants to work, but Sita's dream is more aspirational. She wants him to take the entrance exam to St. Joseph's College.
अब अलिकति राम्रो काम पाएँ आमालाई छोड्दिहाल्छु किन अब आमा त बुढी हुँदै गयो, अब आमालाई साह्रो पर्छ, अब हामीले गरेर जियोस्, हामीले पाल्नु पर्यो नि त।
And today is the day. The entrance exam starts at 10 o'clock.
हुन त हामी पहिलादेखि सानो स्कुल पढ्दै आएको, सानो पढ्दै अब एकैचोटि हाई स्ट्यान्डर्डमा पढ्नु भन्नुहुँदैछ, तर अलि साह्रो पनि पर्छ हामीलाई, पैसा पनि नपुग्ला जस्तो हुन्छ।
Madhu knows that if he's successful in the college exam, it will put him in a different class.
अब हामी त्यो लोअर क्लासको लेभलहरु पिपलहरु हैन, अब एनपीमा पढ्नु साह्रै पर्छ, तर पनि अब एउटा इच्छा अनुसार ट्राई चाहिँ गर्नुपर्छ।
Sita is happy. Her son listened to her and he's going to take the entrance exam. But Bishnu and Harry are not so happy. Their engine has decided to misbehave today. This may be a heritage line, but keeping these B-class steam engines running sometimes calls for skills which can only be called unorthodox. When the train breaks down, emergency repairs have to be made, based on a century of experience and a pragmatic DIY approach. They can't call for expensive spares, so sometimes a rag or even a crisp packet serves as an effective temporary solution. And if this doesn't work, Hari will have to drive the engine down the hill to Tindaria, DHR's very own dedicated loco workshop. Once upon a time, this workshop could manufacture a complete steam engine. But now cost-cutting has reduced its workforce of skilled mechanics, and it can only service the engines periodically. But without this workshop and its resourceful team of engineers, these old steam locos would soon become redundant. The old skills would simply dwindle and die. Loco 788 was made in Glasgow 112 years ago. It's been in the workshop for 2 months, and it takes almost 3 months to overhaul an engine completely. In these days of cost-cutting efficiencies, the workshop is under pressure, and so is the track. Landslides, traffic damage and vegetation on this 52-mile line means that it also requires constant maintenance. Pemba Lama is one of a dozen or so trackmates responsible for the maintenance of the lines. Each man is allocated to one stretch between 2 stations. But because of the freeze on local recruitment, Pemba has only 1 trackman working under him. Once upon a time, there would have been 6.
वो तो अभी तो वर्कर्स नहीं है बस वही अब जैसे ये काम हुआ इससे अब एक आदमी से तो घास तो उखाड़ मतलब सारा इलाका में तो मतलब निकाल नहीं सकता इसीलिए दवाई डाल के बस इसको खत्म करना.
The DHR, like most of the Indian Railway, was once a family affair. Jobs passed down from father to son. It was a family tradition, secure and respected. But now recruitment has been centralized, and with all the cutbacks, Pemba's son has little chance of joining his father on DHR. The next most secure and coveted job is in the army, and in Darjeeling, that means the Gurkhas.
सर मेरे को आर्मी बहुत पसंद है. हमारे गांव में सब बहुत लड़का लोग हैं आर्मी में, तो आर्मी जाकर मैं अपना फैमिली को कुछ मदद कर सकता हूँ, मेरे भाई बहन को अच्छा स्कूल पढ़ा सकता हूँ.
But the Gurkhas will only take the best. The odds are 50 to 1. So every day Pemba's son is training hard.
म आर्मीमा गयो भने अब लडाई भयो भने मतलब मेरो उसबाट चाहिँ म त्यहीबाट भागेर आउनु सक्दैन हैन, या म मर्छु या अरूलाई मार्छु.
There was a time when Bachan would have been able to try for both the British Gurkha and the Indian Gurkha regiments. But the Indian government has now stopped the Brits from recruiting here in Darjeeling. Today, if you want to join the British Gurkhas, you have to travel to Nepal. "50 years ago, Major Malla joined the British Gurkhas. He was recruited right here in Darjeeling. Today, Major Malla's regiment, the Princess Mary's Own 10th Gurkha Rifles, is celebrating its regimental birthday. It's an opportunity to reminisce about military service under the British Crown, the good times and the bad times.
We were treated not at par with the British soldiers, but treated very differently, very, very differently. In all respects, from pay and allowances to clothing to food to your accommodation, you know. You couldn't compare what they were entitled to or what they were enjoying and what we were given. There's a vast difference. We're told you are in the British Army, but were not given all the facilities that was given to the British soldiers.
So, although the rules have changed, the attractions of a secure army job are the same. Life in the army has always been an escape from the harsh reality of life in the hills.
Soldiers came from war, they came back home, read stories about Italy, Java, Sumatra, all those beautiful places. And I thought, why I don't join the British Army and see those part of the world also.
Apart from the railway and the army, there are few other job opportunities for unqualified young Gurkhas, and certainly none which promise job security. The alternatives were low-paid portering, or tea plucking, or common labouring. Furatemba wanted to be a musician, but his railway job has given his family security and allowed his son Sapan to get an education and to think beyond the railways.
जब उसले एल्बम निकाल्दैछ अडियो भिडियो गर्दैछ जो शौक उनीहरूले गर्दैछ त्यो मैले भनिहालेँ पहिल्यैदेखिको हामीलाई इच्छा थियो शौक थियो त्यहाँ पाइन शौक पाएन जो चाहिँ उनीहरूले गर्दैछ त्यो चाहिँ एकदमै मलाई सुटेबल एकदमै मलाई मन परेको छ.
Over the last year, Darjeeling has developed a vibrant music scene thanks to a local boy winning the national TV talent contest, Indian Idol. Sapan and his band Aradra, named after a constellation, have their sights set on stardom with their soft rock ballad, I Don't Like You.
एउटा अब मान्छेको सबैभन्दा ठुलो चाहिँ एउटा आइडेन्टिटी हुन्छ हैन. म्युजिक भिडियो चाहिँ हामीले एउटा आफूलाई चिन्ने हैन परिचय गर्ने हामी के हो हैन.
Sapan wants to establish his Gurkha identity through his band and his music. But as the eldest son, he has to think about his duty to the family too.
लाइफ नै अब म्युजिकमै बित्छ भनेपछि म म्युजिकमै गर्छु हैन. अब यदि अब म्युजिकको अब यहाँ त स्कोपै छैन हैन. त्यो भएर नहुँदाखेरि चाहिँ अब यदि त्यतापट्टि अब अलिक स्कोप छैन भने त अब मलाई अब कर लाग्छ यतापट्टि नै जानु रेलवेपट्टि नै हैन.
In the mist-covered hills of Darjeeling, isolated from the rest of the world, the elections are imminent. At a time of great changes, even life on the railway is no longer the great constant. Nima was forced to compromise his spiritual calling. But at least the railway has allowed him to fulfill his duties as the eldest son. Trackmate Pemba's eldest son, Bachan, is trying for a place in the Gurkha regiment. With jobs on the railway harder than ever to find, he believes the army is his best bet. As dusk falls at Darjeeling station, Sita is waiting for the last train, but she's also waiting for Madhu's exam results. The majority of Gurkhas believe an independent state of Gorkhaland would give them a better future. And tomorrow, they vote. Darjeeling is a constituency of over 1 million voters, and they're expecting an 80% turnout in the hills today. Indian elections have been called the biggest exercise in democratic franchise ever held in world history. More than 700 million voters will vote in 1 million polling stations. And up and down the DHR, even railway stations are pressed into election service. Harry is voting early because he has to be on duty today, and as a person running an essential service, he's allowed to jump the long queue. Every voter has to have an election photo identity card, and every name and photo is on the electoral list.
जरूरी है अभी वोट देने के लिए, क्योंकि हम लोग का यहाँ अभी बंगाल में है ना, इसलिए हम लोग बंगाल से सेपरेट होने के लिए अभी चाह रहे हैं ना गोरखा लोग.
To ensure that everyone gets just one vote, one finger is painted with indelible ink. But behind a screen, India employs the very latest voting technology to cast and count the votes. Although it will take a month for all 700 million voters in India to cast their votes, they can all be counted in a single day.
इसका मतलब एक मुठ एकजुट होके हम लोग को वोट देना है.
Once voting is over, Darjeeling gets back to its main interest, tourism. In the tourist season, Harry and Bishnu have 2 extra trains to fire up. And it's an opportunity to bring the DHR much needed cash. DHR was the engineering prototype for the other Indian hill railways in Ooty and Shimla. But everybody's come here to enjoy the romance and the excitement of a real steam train. A train which climbs 7,000 feet in 52 miles. The DHR, like all Indian railways, is state-owned, and its passenger services are heavily subsidized. Yet it still loses money. Today, the DHR faces an uncertain future. The worry is that to survive, the train will simply become an amusement ride. And if that happens, it may lose its place at the heart of this community. There was a time when authorities planned to scrap the DHR. But thanks to a vociferous local protest and petitions by train enthusiasts around the globe, it was formally declared a World Heritage Site in 1999, and its future seemed assured. While the overhauling of engine 788 is almost complete, there are worrying developments on the shop floor. The authorities have decided to turn some part of the workshop into a diorama for the tourists. And not everyone is happy.
यहाँ तो हम अभी तो लग रहा है ये तो क्या हम लोग पशु हो गया, म्यूजियम तो हो गया। अब बोलेगा बाहर का आदमी भीतर का आदमी काम नहीं करेगा, म्यूजियम हो गया बोलेगा। जितना भी हम लोग भीतर में काम करेगा वही नहीं सोचेगा। अब बाहर का आदमी लोग तो सोचेगा म्यूजियम बनाया, अब 2-3 दिन का बाद में ये सब देखेगा, फिर सोचेगा काम ही नहीं कर रहा है। हाँ, हम लोग मुँह मेट के काम कर रहे हैं।
Trackmate Pemba Lama and his family live beside the railway track in subsidized railway quarters. They're up at dawn every day, Pemba to the railway and eldest son Bachan for training in the hills. Breakfast for Bachan is a protein drink of milk and raw eggs, dutifully made by his mother. But today is different. It's recruitment day in Darjeeling. The Indian Army is screening for admission to India's own Gurkha regiment, and Bachan will be just one of 10,000 hopefuls chasing 200 places. The entry test for the Gurkha regiment is a demanding process. You must prove that you are between 17 and 21 years old. Then you're expected to pass a timed series of physical fitness tests, pull-ups sit-ups, a mile-long run, and a 9-foot long jump over a ditch. A selection of well-tried tortuous feats to sort out the men from the boys. If you pass these tests, you must then take a medical and a written general knowledge exam. But the first test that everyone has to pass is the height test. Unlike other army regiments, the Gurkha height requirement is 1.6 meters, or 5'3".
जसको हाइट छैन त्यो पहिले निक्लिएर गए पनि ठीक हुन्थ्यो जसको हाइट छैन यता पिछाडी आउनुस् त पिछाडी हाइट छैन यता निक्लिनु हाइट छैन पछि मात्रै आउने ठीक छ पिछाडी आउन आरामले पुल पिछाडी आउन आरामले आउट
Bachchan fails the height test. He's disappointed, but he's still growing and young enough to try again.
मतलब आप्पासँग त कुरा भएन बाबासँग त आमासँग कुरा भयो आमाले ठिकै छ अब नेक्स्ट टाइम ट्राई गर्नु भनेर नेपालीहरूलाई गोर्खाली भनेर चिनिन्छ उनीहरूसँग चाहिँ कहिले हार मानेन
There's a note of disappointment at the Railway Institute as well. Sapan's band were hoping to audition girls for their new video. And so far, no one's turned up. Eventually, 3 local girls arrive for audition, and the mood changes.
आउनु चाहिँ आयो हैन 3 जना चाहिँ आएको हैन अब धेरै खुसी लाग्यो हामीले के सोचेको थिए भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ सायद एकै जना आयो भने हैन एकै जनालाई चाहिँ हामी भिडियोमा लिने भनेर
Now that the cast are in place,
Action!
Sapan's band can finally begin their shoot at the station.
Music!
The word on the street is that rock ballads are in at the moment. A successful video could propel their song into the charts. In the storyline, Sapan plays a photographer whose girl is stolen from him by his best friend.
Action!
It's a classic story, and a universal story of unrequited love set in the hills.
Cut!
And like many Indian movies, it's the DHR which provides the film's perfect romantic location. Every day after the last train has left, Nima Yelmo leaves his worldly life behind on Kurseong station to return to his real love, the Buddha. Even after a full day's work, he spends hours in prayer and meditation at his monastery. For 20 years, Nima has struggled to balance the job of a ticket inspector on the railway with the religious duties of a monk.
तो कभी-कभी तो बहुत टाइम होता है तो नींद आता है कभी-कभी नींद आता है तो उसी टाइम में हम लोग फिर प्रैक्टिस भी करना है जो रेगुलर रखना पड़ेगा अनब्रेक चेंज रखना पड़ेगा
Nima knows that the solution to his dilemma would be a complete renunciation of his worldly life, but only his sense of duty has prevented him from taking that final step. Today in Darjeeling, St. Joseph's College is publishing the results of the entrance exam. So Madhu and Sita are excited and also a little apprehensive.
दो चिंता है एक लड़का होगा कि नहीं वो दूसरा उन्हीं से पैसा मिल जाएगा कि नहीं वो दोनों मेरा चिंता है.
With 1,000 students trying for a place at St. Joseph's, Madhu needs to be in the top 5%. And if he's been successful, his roll number will be somewhere on this list. His number is there. Madhu has passed the entrance exam and been offered a place at St. Joseph's College, Darjeeling.
आज खुश मेरा एक लड़का का जो रिपोर्ट था ना वो हो गया, उसमें खुश है.
और ये वो हिमालय ना वो आशा इसने खुद पूछा कैसा हो गया, अच्छा हो गया.
मेरे को विश्वास ही नहीं हुआ कि ये एग्जाम में पास हुआ है.
क्यों विश्वास नहीं हुआ?
क्योंकि ये अभी तक सेकंड होकर आया है ना, तो एनपी तो बहुत बड़ा इंग्लिश स्कूल है, तो कैसे होगा ये, तो ये समझ कर है ना.
तो तुमको मारा दादा ने, तुम हंसा तो?
Sita's joy is tempered by the fact that now she has to find the money for the fees. But she has a plan. She's going to ask the college principal to waive them. But the college is closed. The building has been requisitioned for the counting of the votes. In Darjeeling, 2 weeks after they voted, supporters of Gorkhaland have gathered for the result. They remain confident their Gurkha candidate is going to win. Gorkhaland candidate Mr. Jaswant Singh has won by 250,000 votes. However, in fighting for an independent Gorkhaland, he'll find himself a lone voice in the Indian Parliament. Now is the time to save a victory, and that wouldn't be complete without a photo of the winning candidate and the steam train. Sita has an appointment with the principal. She's going to ask him to waive Madhu's fees. Although her son is not so enthusiastic about asking for charity. If Sita doesn't get the fees waived, it means that half of her annual income will have to go towards Madhu's education. And then she would have almost nothing left for her other 4 sons.
तपाईको नाम चाहिँ?
मेरो सीता छेत्री.
सीता छेत्री. कतिजना छोराछोरीहरू?
5 जना छ.
5 जना.
छोरा हजुर.
सबैजना छोरा?
सबैजना स्कुल पढ्दैछ.
सबै नानीहरू पढ्दैछ.
मदत त अब तपाईको हातमा ल्याइदिएको छु. नानी तपाईको
मदत चाहिन्छ तपाईलाई?
हजुर. हजुर. इच्छापूर्वक.
We will do what we can, whatever way we can support you financially and otherwise, so that you can do your studies well and fulfill your mother's dreams. Huncha? Okay, huncha.
Against all the odds, Sita's done it. The principal agrees to waive Madhu's fees. Her eldest son, a student at St. Joseph's College. She can hardly believe it. And she can't wait to share the news with her friends on Darjeeling station. As tradition dictates, she hands out sweets so that others can share in her happiness. Kurseong, Furtemba Sherpa's son and his band have gathered at the house for a family premiere of the band's new music video.
मैले आफ्नो जुन मेरो रुचि थियो मलाई इच्छा थियो त्यो इच्छालाई मैले दबाएर राख्नु परेको थियो त्यो आज इच्छालाई त्यो उमङ्गलाई फेरि छोराले त्यसलाई फुल फुलेको जस्तो उसको पिता चाहिँ म बाउ चाहिँ म फुलेर पनि ओइलेर झरेको जस्तो भएको थिएँ तर छोराले चाहिँ के भने फुललाई चाहिँ फुलाइदियो फक्राइदियो यतिमा म खुसी छु
Sapan's music and video may have made his father proud, but now he and his band have to get the video onto local TV channels, and they need a recording contract. This young Gurkha's journey into adulthood and responsibility has only just begun. Today is Sagadawa, the day when Buddha was born, finally died, and attained nirvana. For the Buddhists of Darjeeling, it's like Christmas. Nima Yelmo always takes leave from his railway duties to participate in this annual ritual. By getting a job in the railway and suppressing his religious vocation, Nima was able to pull his family out of poverty. And now that's happened, he's hardening his plans to take early retirement from the railways and leave his family and go into retreat as a full-time Buddhist monk. Leaving mother and family is not going to be easy. Even the Buddha himself found it difficult.
According to Buddha को जो preaching है ना, preaching में तो native home place छोड़ना ही है. जब तक native home place में बैठता है, धर्म के सब विरोध होता है. जब अटैचमेंट आता है तो अटैचमेंट में होता है थोड़ा दूर माने जाने अच्छा है प्रैक्टिस में थोड़ा ये काम से जो काम सर्विस में रहने से तो माइंड फ्री नहीं होता है हम लोग सोच रहा है कि इसलिए वॉलंटियर रिटायरमेंट के सोच रहा है एक वर्ष ऐसे ही करके थोड़ा करके वो हम ऐसा ही माने नहीं सॉलिटरी जहाँ एक बहुत रिट्रीट सेंटर में है
अब के भन्नु दुःख लाग्नु अब आफ्नो छोरा हो
हमरो भी थोड़ा थोड़ा लगता है लेकिन लिखने से हमारा दूसरे को फायदा होता है तो हम लोग को इतना माने ये नहीं है ना माने हमको तो जो एक्सपेंड करना है फॉर द बेनिफिट ऑफ अदर्स है ना हम तो मैंने जन्म हुआ है लेकिन नेक्स्ट माने दूसरे के लिए ना हम लोग सेल्फिश पढ़ने से तो अच्छा नहीं है ना
In India, breaking with the family is serious, and turning one's back on family duties is considered a tragedy. Nima's desire for a religious life means the breaking of family ties forever. Buddha had said that all know the way, but few actually walk it. Nima has finally decided to embark on that journey, the journey of his lifetime. The music video of I Don't Like You was broadcast on the local cable network, but Sapan and his band still haven't got a recording contract. Being the eldest son in a railway family, pursuing a life in music means a job without security. Now, just like his father before him, Sapan faces a choice between duty and dreams. Sita Chetri fulfilled her duty to her eldest son. He's now an undergraduate studying for a literature degree at Darjeeling's finest college. He's also taken a part-time job in a shop to help his mother with growing family expenses. Bachan Lama continues his morning exercises. He checks his height every week and is eagerly awaiting the next Gurkha recruitment rally. Nima is still waiting for the railway authorities to process his application for an early retirement so that he can finally retreat from the railway and the modern world. Until then, he's still a chief ticket inspector and still on duty on the DHR. After 3 months in the Tindaria workshop, the mechanics and the engineers, the fitters and the welders, and the rest of the team have managed once more to breathe new life into engine 788. This fine old engine is back on the line, and Harry and Bishnu are happy to be back with their favorite loco. But their hopes for an independent Gorkhaland, meanwhile, remain just a dream. The Darjeeling Himalayan Railway is the story of a railway so close to the people that it flows like a river through their lives. It's a century-old partnership of mutual respect, tolerance, and survival, together on a journey that's still not reached its end.
There's a chance to catch up with our new series Syrian School tomorrow here on BBC4. You can see episode 1 again from 7:30. Next tonight, stay with us for Latin Music USA.